Hello, and thank you for watching my video. Welcome to another in the series looking at PvP builds after the June patch update, in which obviously we now have 3 lines of traits. And this is a Mesmer build that I've kind of created because I will be honest right from the start. I am not the best Mesmer player. Excuse me. I will show you why I'm not the best Mesmer player. These are my stats, and as you can see here, these are all the games by profession. So you can see I tend to play a lot more Engineer, Elementalist, you know, all the Ranger, Thief, Guardian, Necro, and Warrior. Well, maybe not Warrior, but these tend to be the same amount. My Mesmer, I'm about 503, but if we compare that, so 503 to 480, so we're comparing the Mesmer to Necro. 503, and then we go by wins, 218 compared to 260. In fact, the win ratio is the worst out of all of my professions. Okay, so I am not the best Mesmer, and it comes to do with the whole way you play Mesmer, and I am not the best at playing it that way. There are 8 professions, and this happens to be the one that I'm worst at. So this is a build that I feel comfortable with. It's a build that I enjoy, and it's a build that, you know, it tends to work fairly well. I'm not going to say it's the perfect build. There are some downsides to this, but let's talk about this. So first of all, we've got Greatsword, and the Greatsword, obviously, the reason it comes with Greatsword, you've got Mind Stab, Mirror Blade, Spatial Surge, obviously a very, very good one. The further you are, the more damage you're doing, and Phantasmal Berserker. This is one of the key things about this build. This is a very build that really specializes in clones and maintaining phantasms, and that's the key word. So we're going to explain why a little bit later. I'm just going to go through. We have critical chance, you know, Sigil of Air, Sigil of Fire, and Sigil of Accuracy, and Sigil of Fire on your sword pistol. We have the Rune of the Eagle, so we're getting increased for ferocity and precision, and the Berserker Amulets. So we're going to go into the stats. Now, the whole point of this build is maintaining these phantasms. Now, on the sword and pistol, we have probably the 2 most powerful phantasms you get in the game, and that's Phantasmal Duelist, who really unloads a hell of a lot, and also Phantasmal Berserker. So they're the 2 ones that's going to be key for this build. So in this, we have Dueling, Domination, and Inspiration. For dueling, we actually have gain vigor when delivering a critical hit. Your phantasms have fury. We don't need to worry about inflicting bleeding, it's pretty minor. But having phantasms having fury means they're more likely to crit. Blind foes whenever around you when you use a shatter skill. So if you're in close, you know, you've got a warrior or a thief attacking you, you can inflict blindness by using a shatter skill, which would be one of those. You might have noticed there's a lot of things on that, but we're going to come on to this. Gain Fury when you strike an enemy whose health is below 75%. And create a clone at your current position when you dodge. And that is a key component as well for keeping up how many different clones you have to shatter them. So what else do we have? We have Inflict Vulnerability when you interrupt a foe. Interrupt is what Diversion is. So we interrupt the foe. Illusions deal more damage. That's an extra 15% damage that they do. Dazing a foe also applies vulnerability. So there we go. We actually have the ability to daze, so that the diversion causes vulnerability. Shatter skills also remove a boon on hit, so very good against elementalists or warrior or guardians. Deal more damage for each stack of vulnerability on your target. So the more vulnerability they have, the more damage that you would do. And shatter skills deal more damage against foes, doubled against foes that are not activating skills. So you can actually stun them, they're not using skills, and bang, you're going to do a 30% damage increase. And that is where this is key. Okay, so the idea is to daze them, and then create a load of clones and use Mind Rack, and you'll be able to do a significant amount of damage. We come on to Inspiration. We actually get Cast Power Cleanse when you use a healing skill. So we remove conditions from me and my nearby allies when we use this skill. Phantasms have increased health and spawn with Retaliation. Meaning if you spawn this Phantasmal Berserker, if they're getting hit, they are dealing Retaliation. They also have a 20% health increase. gain distortion to nearby allies whenever you give yourself distortion, so you're able to survive. And protected phantasms. Phantasms gain distortion briefly upon creation. And this is a key component because it means that they will evade all attacks, they gain protection, and obviously they have retaliation and they have health. So you're giving your phantasms a lot of boons here. When healing yourself, nearby allies are also healed, so we actually gain increasing healing power for each illusion you control. That's actually going to affect your passive effect, and the more illusions you have, the more healing you're doing, and you're actually gaining a passive illusion. So if we look here, if we take for example the medium golem, we actually get an increase in, well, we didn't cast them close enough, so let's do that again. But as I continue, the final one is phantasms gain regeneration to nearby allies. Whenever you summon a phantasm, cast Signet of Inspiration, which means I copy all of my boons to nearby allies. So again, it's all about the sharing of the boons and helping out your allies. So this inspiration track really does give your phantasms a lot of health, a lot of protection, a lot of damage, and basically a lot of boons that you can share around. So I'll tell you what, we're going to cast this on the light one, and so we can see here passive heal is 340. When we cast the Phantasm Disenchanter, it goes up, and we're going again, it increases. So it's slowly increasing the amount of healing we're doing. Again, you know, we're getting more and more increasing health. Not by much, but it does affect that little bit. So that is pretty much it. If we look at the actual skills we have, I take Signet of the Ether. This can be substituted for another healing skill. It's pretty much, as I've explained before on my videos, I prefer Signets because I like the passive heal. However, it's more about the fact that the cast time, and you can get interrupted. So it lets, for example, you can go mirror, but it's a 1.25 cast time for only 3,915. If someone stuns you, you will lose that healing. Same with the Ether Feast. It's a 1 second cast time. Although it's pretty decent, and it's only a 20-second recharge, again, you can get interrupted during this casting time. Same with this, but you are getting passive healing. So we have the Phantasm Disenchanter. Now this can be substituted for another of different ones because it does have a fairly long cast time. However, it is very effective against Condi builds and also those builds that build up a lot of boons, because it does remove the boons and obviously removing conditions. We also have Signet of Humility. This is very, very useful if you want to finish off a foe, or you've got a foe that does a lot of casting, and you can inflict a lot of confusion by using one of the shatter skills, shatter skill 2, and if they keep using their, when you turn them into a mower, then they will kill themselves. But it's also useful for when you want to finish off that enemy. You've got an enemy who's being really, really stubborn, cast Signet of Humility to turn them into a mower, and you could be able to inflict a lot of shatters, and they will, again, if you inflict the mower, remember one of the traits we've got is actually deal more damage against foes that are not activating skills. And a lot of the time when you're in mower, you try not to activate too many skills because you do get a little bit, whoa, what's going on? So that again is where this is going to be coming very in handy. So what the way the build initially plays is by having you create the mirror clones, and you create decoy. You'll send them in, get them to cast or shatter them with diversion, and that will inflict blindness and vulnerability, and you also inflict daze. So obviously they won't be casting skills. You can then dodge to give yourself another clone. You can cast Phantasmal Berserker, you can cast Phantasmal Duelist, get them to unload, and then you use F1 because they've got vulnerability on them. They will suffer a lot more damage. Okay, so what we're actually now going to be in some PvP. We're going to actually describe some of the action in here. So we've got a guy coming through the gate. We missed with our skill 3. We've got our Phantasm that's done a bit of damage. We've actually stunned him with our F3 skill, which is actually stunned him again. We use our skill 5 on the pistol to stun him. And stunning these warriors, they really are unable to access these skills. It just means that we can get off the easy kill just like that. So as we are here, we've got a Necro that's coming up to us. This is going to be 1v1 initially. We will have a colleague of ours come up to us. We've summoned the Phantasm. We've got 3 clones up at the moment. We've got a lot of conditions, so we're going to spawn our sort of Condi removal guy, but you can see there the Necromancer's got a load of vulnerability on him because we did use our F3 skill, and so with all that vulnerability he's really struggling to survive. He does pop his Death Shroud, but again, you know, you can see the damage that we're doing on him, a significant amount of damage. Now we've got a lot of clones up, so what we're going to do, he does fear me, but we're going to pop our F4, which makes us invulnerable, and this means that we don't suffer from the poison field that he actually spawns there. So we don't get to suffer from that. F4, very good for the stomp. So we've got a 2v2 going on here, and one of our guys is downed, and the other guy's going to get downed as well. We'll pop our Phantasm that actually ends up killing the Guardian. The Thief's still in there. Thief's also downed as well, so 2 guys are both down, but unfortunately one of our guys actually does die. We are dodging to actually add clones. We've got 2 guys rezzing up, or 1 guy's rezzing up the down fellow, and the Guardian here is going to be owned. So the Guardian died. But what you're going to have here, you're going to have a Thief come out of nowhere. And this is what's going to happen. Watch this. So we've got the Thief come out. He comes out of stealth. We'll use our illusion clone, so we do get stealth, and in the end we're going to get our own back on this Thief. A lot of critical hit damage we've got going there, and then we pop our Phantasm. Using skill 2 on the sword really makes us evade him, and he does get up because one of our colleagues got downed, but that's not going to be the end of it. I am going to get him back. He does come back at me, but in the end we'll use summon clones, and we'll use skill 3, F3, to give him vulnerability and stun, and he's downed. And we eventually will get killed, although I did manage to pop my heal a little bit slow, but fortunately he's in such low health that we're going to get him anyway. So that's one of the downsides with this, the healing signet. It does take us a long cast time. So we've got the Necromancer ahead of us here. He's going to pop his Lich Form, and this is where the mower is a phenomenal counter. Because there we go, he's been mowed, and he really hasn't got a clue what to do. The mower's dead, and that's it, he's dead. So really not much of a choice here, and my colleague stomps him brilliantly. So there we go, that is how you counter a Necromancer Lich Form. We've got a Guardian that's being attacked by my colleague. I've just respawned, and you can see there we did a lot of critical hit damage using the Cry of Frustration. You can see in the combat log we're doing a lot of damage, and we'll get the spawn off here. I probably could have popped the F4 skill just to get that stomp off a little bit quicker, but I failed to do so. So we're coming up again. We're in forest. We've got 4 of us in this point here. And we're going to have at least 2 to 3 enemy come actually at us. We've got a Thief and an Elementalist. So, sorry, a Necromancer, and he's popped his Lich Form again, but again we're going to counter with the mower, and already he's down. So he's gone from such high health straight away to using mower, and that's how easily it is to combat a Necro, particularly one uses Lich Form. So again, we've got the Elementalist. Look how much critical hit damage we're doing. We took out 4.5k of his damage. The Ranger's downed as well. We'll make sure that he's not going to survive that. And that's another way to kill off some of these guys. So I have to say, in a team fight, this build is very, very useful. Solo, it's a little bit more difficult, but we'll come on to a few solo videos towards the end. You can see here, the Thief is actually down my colleague, but we're going to finish him up, get him back up, and then we've got another guy, a warrior, coming in, and we'll pop our 2 clones, and then we'll spike him with the F2, which actually caused him a fair bit of confusion. You can see he's actually still on him, and that's basically finished him off. So here we go, we're going to be up, and we're going to have a big fight going on at the midpoint, and we're going to pop our skill 3 and the Phantasm, causing critical hit damage. You can see there we actually dodge, we create another clone. The warrior is really struggling, and you'll see a Thief comes out of nowhere, so we swap to our sword and we skill 2, meaning we evade and cause a lot of damage. Using our clone, are able to become invisible and stealth. The warrior does come back at us with his hammer, but we use our Phantasm. He does evade a little bit, but the warrior survived, but the Thief that was attacking us didn't. So there we go, that is another way to counter. Again, you've got a Ranger coming in here. Ranger we're going to fight, and I think he'll end up retreating because... Or is he going to retreat? No. So we're using our clones, and eventually he's going to run away though. So this build is very, very good in a team fight to really help out your opponents. Remember that the phantasms actually do give boons. But we've got one-on-one with the warrior here. So we've got our clones, we're in stealth, and he's not sure who to target. We've got 3 clones going on here. We will pop in a sec. We popped that F2, giving him confusion, and we popped our mind rack, so he did suffer a hell of a lot of damage. Using skill 2, we're able to evade, and we'll pop our phantasm again, and there we go. So he's downed, and we'll pop our F4, and that means we can get the stump off, and that's it. So I'm hoping you've enjoyed this video. Please feel free to comment in the section below any modifications you feel that I should make. But thank you very much for watching my video. Feel free to subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.